Welcome to your weekly update. It is Friday the 13th, May 13th, and it's about 4 p.m. and I'm finally doing gardening work again. I feel like I'm getting a taste of what I spent so many years doing that I haven't been doing here for the last couple of years. It's good to be working the soil. And so we've gotten a few things done on the homestead this week, and we have basically decided to concentrate on just food growing right now. So the construction of the house is on hold for a little bit until we can at least get ahead with food production, but there are some major food shortages coming and already here. And so I need to, this is the last piece of the puzzle for me here to at least get to a point where I could live up here for a period of time without anything. So food, water, energy, and shelter. I've got shelter, I've got energy, I've got water. The food is the last piece to get our food production systems, which is really more for us food sovereignty. We've been storing food for a long time. My wife and I have been preppers for years, but so we're good there. But we need to get our systems in place, and so that's where I really want to concentrate my efforts going forward. At least until we get ahead enough that I've got lots of things in the ground, lots of things growing, and I can go, okay, you know what, we can put our attention back on the construction, and I know I won't regret that decision. So that's kind of the theme of this week. So we're here on the first terrace of my garden, and I've been talking about this terrace in videos for a while. I've basically been working on this terrace just myself all week. On Monday, I came in here with the machines, with my mini excavator and my skid steer, and I started shaping this ground out better. I did some main measurements to figure out how much space I want, and I started pushing ground, leveling, and once I had a base of the ground shaped, at least starting with this piece here, I started bringing soil in here. And so I've brought about probably 30 skid steer bucket loads. So that's probably 30 yards of soil that I've brought in here. I've got my subsoil material and a topsoil material that I've been harvesting from a water draw site back there. It's really nice soil. So that's what I've been spending my time on. Now I've got to the point where I've got these first 14 beds shaped. I've still got a bit of raking work to do on them, but they're pretty much, these are almost done. And next thing will be is to bring some irrigation supplies in here and get some crops in the ground. So I've got a number of terraces to finish next. This one over here will be the next one that I do. Once I get these totally done, then I'll start working in here, bringing more soil in here and getting this next block shaped out. And then I'll be moving up from there. We've got another terrace here. And there's 3 other terraces, but they have material on them right now, and I don't want to move that material right away if I don't have to. I'll wait until I need to. So there's still lots of work to happen on that, and that'll be the next coming weeks. Let's go check out the greenhouse though. A lot happened up there. Standing in the special high tunnel, and we've got the concrete all poured for this. We got this done yesterday, and this went surprisingly well, actually. I had to do quite a bit of work with my mini excavator up above to grade out that ground so that we could access along the back wall. And we were able to, we had ramps from up here, and we wheelbarrowed the concrete in. And it worked quite well, actually. We were able to use the concrete truck. We were able to get this whole front part and to about here from the chute right off the truck, which was really good. And then we only really had to wheelbarrow from here to this corner here where it comes up. So that went really well. So now this is poured. I've got my posts are in, so my bows are going to go on top of these, and there's still a lot of work to do on this, but so we've got part of the forms have stripped off. This has been sitting just for 24 hours basically, and So we've pulled off our whalers and our wedges, but we still have our forms and our snap ties in here because you don't want to pull those off. You want it to cure for a few more days before you pull those off. But tomorrow, actually, we're going to start on the climate battery. So this greenhouse has a climate battery and a radiant floor. It's an experiment I'm trying. And when I was originally planning this one, I was just going to do a radiant floor. And I just got to thinking about how I actually have a decent amount of depth in here. I'm basically gonna, I've got this grade that I'm standing on now, but we're gonna add another foot of sand on here before we put our 2 feet of raised beds in here. And so I looked at the price of Big O piping and I decided to do an inexpensive climate battery, similar to the one I did in my house in Kelowna. So the one we did for this greenhouse here was a lot more of an expensive climate battery. It had I think it's called an SDR pipe, which is a 12-inch pipe along the front and back manifolds. And 2 series of Big O pipes came off of that, one going really low and then one going a little bit higher. And we did about 4 to 6 feet of depth in there for that climate battery. So that climate battery is amazing. And that greenhouse has been absolutely incredible despite our crazy cold spring that we've had. On the cloudiest, darkest day, it's still 20 degrees Celsius in there with 0 heat inputs. So that climate battery is doing very well. For this one, I wanted to try doing an inexpensive one and see if it's worth it. So basically, I've spent about $500 in materials to get everything I need for this climate battery. Well, all the piping. I'm still going to need a fan and I'm going to need some spiral ducting up top. But what I'm going to do is have Big O for the whole thing. There'll be 1 pipe every foot, and then there'll be the manifold up top, which is also Big O with T's. And then down below as well, the air will suck down into one corner and come up kitty corner in the other one. We'll bury that in sand and we'll pack it. Then we'll lay down our radiant floor pecs, and then we'll bury that with about 6 inches. And then that'll give us about, it should be over a foot. It should be up to 18 inches of sand. We've got a climate battery underneath and pecs on top. So the idea there is on the shoulder season, like right now, I wouldn't need to be heating this with wood. I could probably heat this well enough with the amount of thermals that come in here during the day, even on a cloudy day, and dump that heat into the climate battery and benefit from it in the short term. This climate battery won't function in the same way as that one does. Because that climate battery is so thick, there's just that much more thermal mass in it. And that one, I should be able to pull heat into that one. I'll turn it off probably by July, but I'll turn it on again in early September and dump 2 months of heat into it. And that will last me a long time, months. This one won't function quite as well. That's where the boiler part comes in, is that for 4 months of the year, this will be heated from wood, dumping a glycol-based water into the tubing and heating the floor that way, and the raised beds in turn as well. So it's a bit of an experiment, but yeah, there's still a lot of work to do on here. I mean, the next thing that's going to happen here is we're going to get the climate battery, the radiant floor in, get our flooring finished. All these forms will come off. Then we'll just have exposed concrete. Then we'll get our raised beds in place. Then we're going to have to bring in soil with my mini excavator and place it in those raised beds. That'll take quite a bit of machine work. Then we could start planting crops in here if we wanted to, but it won't take long to get the plastic up on this because these bows are so secure, or my ground posts are so secure. I can get my bows in here, get a ridge pole up, and then we could put the poly on this really quickly if we wanted to. But we've got quite a bit of work to do still. So once the bows come on here, I'm going to do a toe kick board that will be probably a 1x or a 2x6 material cedar that comes along here. And there'll be a flashing that goes underneath that'll go over insulation. So this outside wall here will get 3 inches of insulation. And then there'll be some kind of, it's going to be, I think it's called Wonder Board. It's like a cement board that will go on top of that to finish it. And that's what you'll see on the outside. There'll be a flashing over that. And then when the bow comes in, there'll be a hip board, which is typically called a hip board, up to about here. And that's where my roll-up side will go to. And there'll be channel lock and wiggle wire along there. And then on the other side, more or less the same thing. There'll be a roll-up side that goes up to about here. And so we'll be able to have this all opened up and vented. In the summertime, it'll just bleed out the heat. It should bleed out the heat very well. And on the bow, that's where I'm going to put a spiral duct that's going to suck the heat down and put it into the ground. So it'll sit under, it'll just hang off the ridge pole of this greenhouse essentially, because that's the collection point where all the heat will go. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. And yeah, we're just focusing on getting the food production systems happening. So there's still a lot of work, but I'm hoping by next week sometime we'll have these beds finished and we can probably finish this greenhouse shortly after that and then get these crops in. So I'll leave it there, folks. If you want to see all my daily vlogs, those all go to fromthefield.tv. I'm vlogging every single day. I missed the odd day here and there, but for the most part, it's every single day. And if you're not a member of fromthefield.tv, you can sign up for free for 7 days to just check it out if you want. There's thousands of videos up there, all of my YouTube videos up there without ads, and a ton of other videos from other content creators and all the videos that I made when I traveled through North America interviewing great farmers. We have so much good content up there. I know you're going to like it. So head out there and check it out if you want to see more of stuff like this. Otherwise, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.